Hey, this is Jesse Krieger, founder and publisher of Lifestyle Entrepreneurs Press. We are the publisher for the passionate, and I'm joined today by Yves Nager, forthcoming author of Hawaiian Rebirth. Yves, aloha. How are you?
Aloha, Jesse. I am really so honored and grateful to be here tonight with you and with everyone who is watching us.
Indeed, you and I have worked together for many months behind the scenes, and one of the things we'll be talking about today is, we're finally crossing that all-important divide from working on the book to talking about the book publicly, also known as marketing, and getting ready to release the book. So, Hawaiian Rebirth: questions, stories, and strategies to guide you to your life's purpose. Yves, why don't we start, and I'll just give you the floor a little to talk about the sequence of events that led you to both writing this book and bringing us into this moment.
I would like to start at the moment that we started to connect. It was about maybe 2 years ago I started to notice you, Jesse. You're really out there, and I was looking for a variety of ways to publishing, self-publishing, a publisher, or the hybrid publishing. So the collaboration, and I found the hybrid publishing the most ideal way to proceed. And so you kind of kept showing up, like others, but I really felt the resonance with you as a person and the things we were talking about. And so one day I decided, okay, I'm going to go on this consultation with Jesse. And I was actually on Kauai, on my home island. And so I wrote to Jesse, I would like to have a consultation. I'm here on Kauai. And then you wrote me back in your very first email, oh, Eve, Kauai is such an awesome place. I've been there myself. And that was just such a huge confirmation. To get you started.
Now, I'll just jump in to share that, thinking back to those earlier conversations, myself, my family, we've always vacationed to Hawaii. When I was growing up, every couple of years, we'd always go to the North Shore, to Hanalei, to Princeville. When I found out that that's where Yves lives by choice, and that ties in very distinctly to all of his work and the transformational work he does on the islands of Hawaii, I thought it got my attention as well. And then as we were preparing, this is nice, we can share some of the backstory too here.
Yeah.
And as we were preparing to work on the book, I booked a ticket to come to Hanalei. It just so happened that there was thunderstorms, volcanic eruptions, and Hanalei completely flooded at the time I was supposed to fly over there. So I was like, okay, I'm not meant to go to Kauai right now and work on this book.
Yeah, that's right. And one small correction. Yes, we had the flooding and everything was underwater. This was like the storm of 100. Never ever there's been so much rain on Kauai. Everything was underwater. This thunderstorm was the most intense natural event I've ever experienced. This was off the charts. The volcanic eruption, however, that was about 1 month later on the big island of Hawaii. But of course, I've watched these interviews, and for me, it's like, wow, am I dreaming here? Because I saw you doing these interviews, and now I find myself, I'm now in the interview with you, and it's super exciting. And what I always had in my mind as a vision, as we started to work together, I kind of thought, this interview we are doing together, we had the plans to come visit Kauai, and I thought the two of us, we're gonna make this sitting at Hanalei Bay with a nice sunset in the background. But
that was what I wanted to.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll say it here on record, on video, we will still do that interview. It's just going to be taking place at a different time than perhaps we initially anticipated.
Yeah.
So with that, let's switch gears a little and share what readers are going to, get out of picking up Hawaiian Rebirth, flipping into the first few pages, discovering, sure, your story, but also, as you've set this up, really to be sort of a guide for people to unpack their own life's purpose, which let's be honest, who doesn't want some of that these days? So, share a little bit about, the reading experience that people will have with Hawaiian Rebirth.
Yeah, so where the book starts off is with my personal story. That's in the very beginning. I am from Switzerland right now. As we do this interview, I'm still in Switzerland, somewhere in the Swiss mountains. So how come, this is what a lot of people wonder, how come that this Yves from Switzerland is writing a book named Hawaiian Rebirth? And it has to do with my own life journey. And it was really at a turning point in my life a decade ago in 2008. A lot of things were going wrong. I had a really challenging time, and then long story short, I was literally falling on my knees, praying to God. This was on Christmas 2007. I desperately prayed for help and for guidance, and guidance came pretty quickly. And a whole series of events led me to Hawaii, and all of this happened within just 10 weeks. I found myself for the first time in my life, or probably in this lifetime, in Hawaii, mid-March 2008. And then early April, I had this incredible experience where I described this whole story in the book, where a healer, he was flying in from another Hawaiian island, actually big island, where the volcanic eruptions happen. He was flying into Oahu, where I stayed. He helped me. He did this healing session with me out in nature. My eyes were closed for about 1.5 hours. And then at one moment he said, open your eyes again. And when I opened my eyes again, I was literally born into a new sort of reality, a new sort of life. And it was really like a rebirth. It happened in Hawaii. Therefore, the title of the book, Hawaiian Rebirth. So the title of the book relates, I would say, very much to my own story, but there is also the subtitle of the book, which is the questions and the stories and the strategies to guide my readers of the book to guide themselves to their own life's purpose. And this is here where my work, what I'm very dedicated and very passionate about doing for myself and in service for others, for the planet, since a decade now, this is where this comes into play. And it doesn't necessarily, I had a lot of people asking me, so in order to experience this rebirth, so everyone now needs to come to Hawaii. Something like this would be too much. So there wouldn't be space enough for all the people. That these islands are too small. We cannot all come to Hawaii. But this was my personal experience in Hawaii. But ultimately, you can experience the energies of Hawaii or the spirit of Aloha, no matter where you are on the planet. And what was
an ambassador of Aloha, you could say.
Yes, like one of many, and I had such an amazing confirmation. We now have the pre-launch of the book. It started through Publishizer. It started on August 1st. So on August 1st, in the evening, I'm driving to this mountain valley in the French part of Switzerland. So bonsoir pour mes amis français. My French is not too good, but the story I want to share here, I'm driving on this highway into this mountain valley. I was driving through a storm. I'm literally driving in this valley. The whole sky opens up, and I have a picture. Maybe I can share this picture later. Maybe we can share it with the interview. You will see some mountains, and you'll see the end of an amazing, bright, beautiful rainbow anchoring right in this valley where I'm staying right now on the evening of the launch of the book. And this was just, I was stopping on the side of the highway. I was taking this picture, and I was so grateful.
It's lovely, people that have followed our work and are publishing this year might recall when I shared in February on the release of Dale Holloway's book, Being Called to Change. In fact, we were, we're not even at the release date yet for Hawaiian Rebirth, Yves, but on the actual release date of Being Called to Change, Dale and I were in San Diego reflecting on everything that had happened, just as we're talking about now, in the process of writing the book. And we look outside and there's 2 rainbows. And Dale's like, that's the brightest rainbow I've ever seen. And I was like, quick, somebody get a camera. And we did snap that picture as well. So my understanding from that experience and hearing yours is that that is a confirmation. That's a signal of confirmation of being on the right track, so to speak. So is that
right?
Part and parcel with what you've written about and the journey of personal discovery that people will embark on in the course of reading Hawaiian Rebirth?
Yes, I would say really the rainbow. We are using a beautiful flower symbol, the Plumeria flower. We are in Hawaii. It's when you go to Hawaii, as you know, the air smells so. Maybe you can show it. The air smells so fragrant of this flower, and it is mostly this Plumeria flower. It's such a wonderful smell. There's maybe nothing like Plumeria. Maybe the smell of roses is very beautiful too. But in Hawaii, this Plumeria flower. Another symbol I was thinking about, of course, is to use the rainbow. And for me, the rainbow, in a way, bridges, where you start off at the beginning of your journey. Maybe this is where you start to ask, your life's deeper questions, who I am, what I'm here for, where I'm coming from, where I'm going to. This is kind of the starting point. And then once you start to take action and walk along this path, then you start to go over this rainbow bridge. And I would say you find your life's purpose, symbolically speaking, at this end, wherever this rainbow ends. But now let's think, when I was a little boy, this is a memory I get now, I was fascinated by these rainbows. I haven't been in Hawaii yet. And literally when I saw a rainbow outside, I always thought there's going to be some sort of treasure. So I went out, was running or took my bike, and I tried to go there. But what happens when you do that? The rainbow moves around. And so to speak, when you think about the symbology, the life's purpose, that's something very individual. And I also would say this is not something at a certain point in life. This is something which develops over the course of an entire life. So if you ask me, what is your life's purpose, I can give an answer, what I think, what it is right now. But I think ultimately what our life's purpose was, that's probably something we get an answer to once we really cross the rainbow bridge to another dimension and probably have review on our life. And I think we have an awareness of what our life's purpose is before we get born, and then we get born into this world, we kind of forget and we start to remember. And so many teachers are speaking, remember who you are. And when it's about the work of finding life's purpose, then it's really the question related to it, who am I? And I think
one thing that always struck me with your work, Yves, in relation to even my own book, in Lifestyle Entrepreneur, I wrote discover your identity, but I wrote DIS-cover, because it's not like you have to go out somewhere, here, there, wherever. It's literally discovering, removing the cover, removing whatever layer prevents that identity becoming manifest. Would you agree, or what's your interpretation?
No, I very much agree on that. It's like the layers. You could take like an onion. You have an onion and many layers, but there is a certain core, and maybe some could refer it to like the soul. Like for me, like I would say my essence, the way I felt it my entire life. It's where I'm pointing to. It's not like on the heart. It's kind of between the heart and the throat, like where I'm holding. This is where I feel that's the core. Here's it's my essence. And this was a very strong feeling I had for my entire life. I felt it very strongly as a child. And then I thought, maybe this is just a phase of my life. This is going to change when I'm growing up. Then I was a teenager. I still felt it. And now I still feel it, and it still feels the same. And so I think it's through connecting on the level of the feeling like feeling related to the emotions, acknowledging, honor the whole spectrum of emotions, where we start to connect with the life's purpose is. For a long time, like following a lot of spiritual teachings and certain communities, you know, I kind of always thought like, oh, also the whole term of enlightenment, yeah, it's like, oh, you reach enlightenment when you're the whole time 7/24, you're in a state of bliss. That's what my illusion was. But I find what is way more, in a way, resonating with me and in balance, it's just to own and honor like all of our emotions and feelings in the present moment, no matter if we feel like great or if we feel shitty. Just embrace it, embrace ourselves, and just love and appreciate ourselves. And I think that's the starting point. If we are not able to love and appreciate ourselves, how can we start to love and appreciate others and to be in service of others, you know, like open up. And I think when we get stressed out, we have a lot on our plate, really we feel like we are losing our mind. And so what we have to do in order to find back to our essence, really we have to stop, quiet, and like just really become present and get in tune again with what is like burning within us. And I think that's one of the most essential steps about how to guide ourselves to what the life purpose is. And this is just one of, I would say this is like one of the over aims readers will find in my book. But of course, this might sound a little bit like very feeling and energetic, but what really matters to me is also, other than, you know, kind of more describing it from a spiritual or feeling, energetic perspective, you know, how can I make this very practical? So, you know, a system which requires like, okay, there are four parts.
I want to ask about this because
yes, go ahead.
Into the practical applications. What we're talking about here is an awakening, a discovering, a embracing your true life's purpose, and seeing that in fact can change. Just as if you try and follow a rainbow, the end of that rainbow isn't where it was when you started riding your bike, right? As to
right.
that analogy. So as we talk about the process that in fact you've written about in Hawaiian Rebirth, I'm curious, through this awakening experience, how you integrate being Swiss by nature, which is methodical, diligent, systematized, with whatever's on the other side of, you know, an awakening experience. How do people reconcile the who that they are with the who that they are becoming, if you get my drift?
Yeah, so I would say basically we have kind of three, you know, we have a lot of archetypes within us. But there is like, if you go in this concept, you know, depending on what studies it is, or it can be so many, but to really simplify, we basically have like three voices within us. We have like a dreamer, you know, our dreams, our visions, and we have like the doubter. So that's like the critical. So once we have a dream, we want to go there, and then the doubter comes in and like, no, you cannot do that. You know, it's impossible or whatever. And on that journey, we also have like a realist. So the realist within us, he wants to know, what's the plan? What's the strategy? What are the steps I'm going to talk? And I would say in this book really approaches everything. It's like invoking the dreams, the visions, that's one part of the work, but it's also addressing the doubter. And then it is the realist. The book is like speaking to the realist, really about what can I do to effectively coming in.
They're on deck, popping in on our discussion of Hawaiian Rebirth with Yves Nager. And you know, it's a powerful book. It's a book where now at the beginning of August and for the month of August, we have a pre-launch campaign taking place on our partner Publishizer. So wherever you're watching this, you're going to see a link to that. In fact, for the whole month, you can not only pre-order your own copy of Hawaiian Rebirth, But in fact, Yves and my team and Yves and all of us have worked together to craft some really special packages, as it were, one of which includes an immersive experience in Hawaii with Yves. So an actual retreat facilitating this kind of discovery and awakening experience in Hawaii. As he mentioned, not everybody can get to Hawaii to have a Hawaiian rebirth experience. And indeed, he's bringing this sort of spirit of aloha to us all. And this month, you know, we have a pre-launch campaign before the release of Hawaiian Rebirth in October. So encourage you to take a look and check that out. And in the interest of time, but also for everybody that's interested in everything we've been talking about so far, why don't you share a little bit about what's going on this month, what you've put together and what people can experience, and then we'll wrap it up and send everybody over there to continue their Hawaiian rebirth.
Yeah, so like Jesse mentioned, we have this pre-launch campaign on Publishizer with a different level of packages. So, you know, it really starts from getting the book itself, a signed copy of the book, and then, you know, getting really at a certain point where you can start to work directly with me. So going on a live coaching, live healing sessions, and like Jesse mentioned, all the way through coming to Kauai and have a really as a small group, or just really just you for yourself or as a couple, to spend up to a week with me on Kauai. And so that's what we're looking forward to.
I'm gonna go over there and make sure to snag one of those before they sell out. So as we're sort of just talking about, there's a limited number of seats on an actual Hawaiian Rebirth experience in Kauai with Yves. You can see that on the campaign. You can also, of course, just pre-order your copy of Hawaiian Rebirth. We're happy to share this spirit of aloha with you in any degree or dimension that seems right. But Yves, I appreciate you sharing about Hawaiian Rebirth. I also appreciate you and where we are in the author journey with regards to Hawaiian Rebirth and all of the wonderful advanced praise that's coming in for your book. And, you know, as we start to wrap up, I'll share, if you don't mind, something that just came in. Am I allowed to say it, Yves?
Yes, of course, please.
So we've got an advanced review here from Marcia Wieder, CEO of Dream University, also best-selling author of, I believe, a number of books. It says, Yves Nager is a wisdom teacher, navigator, and guide for meaning and purpose. Here, he provides tools, stories, and maps for the most important journey of your life. The journey home to the truth of who you really are and why you're really here. This exquisite book, Hawaiian Rebirth, will inspire and awaken your heart and soul while showing you how to fulfill your heart's desires. Very kind words from Marcia Wieder.
Yeah.
What an honor, right? For somebody that's near and dear to your heart to reflect back upon the work that you yourself have now done.
Yeah, really deeply grateful for just everything coming together now, and, you know, for your team and the team behind me who has been working on my site. You know, I'm kind of
it's a village to publish a book.
It's an incredible journey, and writing the book, that's one thing, but like publishing it, that's a whole other thing. But I'm in really, really good hands with the publisher for the passionate. Right?
And that's a great place to wrap up. This has been a wonderful discussion. Thank you, Yves. Thanks everybody for listening. Hope that you both were entertained and inspired. Go check out the pre-launch campaign for Hawaiian Rebirth, available for the month of August. And we'll see you in a future video.